Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Shola's Mentorship Blueprint podcast, where we just don't talk about leadership. We live it from the inside out. I'm Olusola Odubanjo, a registered nurse, chartered manager, mentor, and the voice behind this space that is all about empowering, emerging, and evolving leaders to show up sincerely and confidently. If you're new here, this is not just another leadership podcast. And if you've been tuning in already, thank you for growing with me. So let's dive into today's powerful and affirming topic, the quiet leader, how introverts lead powerfully without changing who they are. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like leadership isn't for you because you're not the loudest in the room? Or maybe you've watched others that takes the spotlight while you quietly observe from the back, thinking, I'm not bold enough, I don't speak enough, I'm too quiet to lead. Now, if that's you, today's episode is a reminder that being quiet doesn't mean you're weak. In fact, most of the powerful, impactful leaders I've come across and those that I've actually mentored are the quiet ones. Yes, the thoughtful listeners, the deep thinkers, the ones who speak less but say so much. So, in this episode, we're going to be talking in different segments. But let's first of all start by redefining leadership. Let's be honest. For me, leadership has been wrongly defined for way too long. We've been told it looks like being outspoken, taking charge publicly, talking more than listening, always being assertive. But that's just one style. It's not the only one that works. Leadership is not a personality type. It's not about being loud. It's actually being clear. It's not about dominating a room. It's about creating space for others. So as an introvert, you've actually been doing all this all along, silently, confidently, consistently, and powerfully. Now, what makes quiet leaders so powerful? What do you think? Now, what makes leaders so powerful is one, deep listening. You don't interrupt to talk. You pause to understand. That creates trust. People feel heard by you, not spoken over. Calm under pressure. You think before you act. You bring stability in chaotic moments. Intentional communication. You just don't waste your words. You speak with clarity and care. And when you speak, people lean in. Empathy and reflection. You take time to process, and that actually leads to more thoughtful decisions and deeper leadership presence. So let's be real. When a quiet leader speaks, the room goes still. Now, that's not just because it's out of fear, it's actually out of respect. The third segment, you don't have to perform to lead. Now, let me say this very loud and clear. You don't need to change your personality to be an effective leader. If you are introverted, reflective, and quiet, that's not something to overcome. It's actually something to own. You don't have to become someone else to succeed. You don't need to fake extrovert energy to be taken seriously. I'll say that again. You don't need to fake extrovert energy to be taken seriously. Leadership done well is rooted in authenticity. People can actually feel when you're performing and when you're grounded. You bring calm when others bring noise. You actually offer substance, not just style. And guess what? That's to your advantage. Now, let's be practical. Here's what a quiet leadership might look like in your daily life. While facilitating a meeting, they ask powerful and reflective questions. They are not dominating the room. They coach teammates privately, helping them feel seen instead of being corrected. They influence decision through emails or one-to-ones, not having a grand speech. They actually lead change quietly behind the scenes. Yes, they do, without demanding the spotlight. So yes, quiet leadership looks different, but it still leads. The other segment, it's about the confidence. Let's talk about that inner voice, the one that says or sometimes whispers, you're too quiet for this. You're not visible enough. You're not commanding enough. That voice is in truth, it's fear. And fear doesn't get to write your leadership story. Confidence for introverts doesn't come from volume. It comes from clarity, from knowing who you are and leading anyway. Now, let me share a personal story with you. When I first stepped into leadership, I wasn't the loudest in the room. My voice wasn't the loudest. In fact, I questioned whether anyone noticed me in certain rooms. But with time, I learned that what I brought was the calmness, the focus, and the care, which is exactly what people need. So your voice may be quiet, but your impact can echo. Now, to those that lead teams and organizations, just a quick one for you. If your leadership culture only rewards the loudest voices, I'm here to tell you, you're missing out on extraordinary leaders sitting at the table quietly. Look for those ones who listen more than they talk. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Who takes notes instead of dominating meetings? Does that sound familiar? Who actually follow through with intention? That's leadership too. Okay, now it's your turn. Take a moment today and just ask yourself, where have I downplayed my leadership just because I'm quiet? And what will it look like to lead powerfully as I am? Take a moment to reflect on that. You don't have to raise your voice to raise the bar. So let's start leading from who we are truly are, who we truly are. So to every quiet leaders listening today, your leadership matters. Your presence matters. Your voice, yes, that soft voice matters. You don't need to be loud. You just need to be real. And that kind of leadership actually changes culture and changes the team. It changes culture and it changes the team. Okay, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you for tuning in into today's Shola's Mentorship Blueprint podcast. If this episode spoke to you, made you reflect, made you pause, made you smile, kindly like, subscribe, and share with another quiet leader who needs to hear this. And on next week's episode, we'll be talking about, I'll leave that for you to guess, but definitely you don't want to miss it. Until then, stay grounded, lead sincerely, and don't ever forget your quiet voice leads loudly. Bye.